say? I kick you more than I help.
Much more. Yes, much more.
Everybody ready to go?
Everybody ready?
All right, we're ready, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Steve Gallagher.
Hi, good afternoon. Steve Gallagher, Homicide Lieutenant. Today I'm here to announce an arrest in the murder investigation of Lorenzo Thomas. He's a black male. He's 21 years old. The suspect in this case is Javon Fudge, an 18-year-old black male. And there was also another suspect who we haven't made the arrest or identified yet. A little history on this case. On August 23rd at about 7:20 p.m., police were dispatched to a shooting at the Deer Point trailer park at 9380 103rd Street. When the police arrived, they located two victims that had been shot, Lorenzo Thomas and another unnamed second victim who suffered gunshot wounds also. Both victims were transported to the hospital, and Lorenzo died of his injuries approximately 6 hours later. The investigation of the homicide revealed that Lorenzo Thomas and Javon Fudge knew each other from the neighborhood and had a relationship where they bought or sold drugs to each other. 2 weeks prior to the homicide, there was an incident that was actually an unreported robbery where Javon Fudge robbed Lorenzo Thomas of $90 worth of marijuana at gunpoint. And ever since that happened, there was bad blood between the two. During the 2 weeks leading up to the murder, there was discussion between Javon and Lorenzo that they were going to fight each other. And on the night of August 23rd, they met up in the trailer park on 103rd Street. That evening when they met up, Fudge was with a second suspect. When they confronted the two victims, Fudge pulled a handgun and started shooting at Lorenzo, striking him twice and dropping him to the ground. Fudge then started to go through Lorenzo's pockets while the second suspect and Fudge continued to shoot at the second victim who fled on foot. The second victim was struck one time in his upper body and one time in his arm, and he made it to the corner of a trailer where he then pulled his own firearm and began returning fire toward Fudge and the other suspect. He didn't strike either one of them, and they both fled the scene. When officers arrived at the scene, Lorenzo was able to tell them that a known male named Javon shot him, and the second victim was able to corroborate that by saying that Vaughn was the one that shot Lorenzo. Later, the second victim was able to identify Javon Fudge in a photo spread and positively ID him. On August 25th, we made contact with Javon Fudge and his family and had him come down to the homicide office for an interview. He was questioned and at first denied his involvement with the murder and stated that he wasn't there at the scene. When confronted with inconsistencies in his statement, he changed his story slightly, and then when confronted more, he did admit to being involved in the confrontation and in the shootout. Javon Fudge was in charge of one count of second-degree murder, and with additional charges of aggravated battery and robbery are forthcoming. I can take any questions.
You don't have the second victim? Do we have the name for that? Or?
No, he's a victim of an aggravated battery, and right now with an outstanding suspect. We're not releasing his name.
Could you release his age?
He's a teenager. He is a juvenile.
Juvenile. So he's younger than 18.
Yes.
Can you talk about what you know about this suspect who is at large at this point?
What I know now is he's a black male, early 20s, 5'8", 170 pounds, with long dreads and a beard.
Do you think it's something that people should be concerned about, just people in our community, or is this more targeted to what's going on between these two people and their friends?
Well, I believe this was targeted between that group. Of course, we should always have concern when there are individuals out there with guns who will shoot at people in trailer parks. But I do believe it was isolated toward this one group.
Is this considered a gang related? I mean, anybody?
No, there's no indication of that.
Any other questions?
Can you talk about a lot of homicides in the month of August? Is there something you think is behind that? It's been one of the deadliest months here in Jacksonville throughout this year.
No, unfortunately, it was a month where we did have quite a few homicides that don't appear to be related in any way. It's just been one of those unfortunate months.
Can you just describe that outstanding suspect again?
Sure. He's a black male, described as being in his early 20s, 5'8", 170 pounds, with long dreadlocks and a beard.
Any other
Is he
questions?
known to you? I mean, did you have a name for this second suspect?
They have possible names.
Because the first suspect was known to the victim.
Correct.
The second suspect, not so much, or it's a possible you have.
I don't know I don't think the victims knew who the second suspect was.
Okay.
Can you talk about what's going on right now? What's the process to try to locate this person who's at large?
Well, they're still working through, basically by way of the suspect that they have in custody, or maybe, with his family or friends. But the victims didn't know who it was, so it does help us with that.
All right, thanks, Lieutenant.